Welcome to another episode of the Starter Girls podcast with your host, Jennifer Loading.
And Brianna Drelas, and together we are the Starter Girls.
Where extraordinary decisions produce extraordinary results. These are our friends, these are your friends, and they are living the extraordinary. Today's episode is brought to you by Walt Mills Photographer of Glad Models Agency. If you are here in the Dallas or surrounding area and looking for some photography work, check out Walt Mills. You can learn more about him and his work at photosbywalt.com.
And head on over to startergirls.com. We want to keep in touch with you, and we have a special gift. You can up-level your decision-making skills just by clicking the little button there, and we will send you your gift. So go to startergirls.com and grab yours today.
Absolutely. All right, I think we're ready to get started.
Wonderful.
All right, today's a great day to be brave. You might as well start now. You have the power to change your circumstances any day you decide. Let today be that day. Rise up, be amazing, be you, do you. All right, my friends, we are super excited to welcome our guest to the show today. Joe DiChiara is an entrepreneur with a CPA license. He has worked with thousands of business owners over a 35-year career. Eager to help people succeed, it troubled him that most new businesses fail and was determined to find out why. In 2010, after reading The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace Wattles and Law of Success by Napoleon Hill, we know who he is, he got his answer. Success starts with mindset and intention, subjects they don't teach in CPA school. Joe learned that this was the true culprit in business failure, on top of an overly complex tax and compliance system, making it nearly impossible to start a business and stay in business. His primary purpose has become teaching entrepreneurs the fundamental principles of success, combined with the practical knowledge acquired as a CPA. New business owners start out with odds stacked against them, and the solution is education and guidance. And I love this, Joe.
I do too.
So welcome to the Starter Girls Show. We're super excited to have you here today.
Thank you. I'm impressed. This is like a real podcast with real host.
Yeah, we try. We have a lot of fun over here, but
No,
we totally try.
Very professional, and I'm humbled.
Thank you.
We're happy to have
Humbled.
you.
Thank you. And thank you for that introduction. I forgot that I wrote that.
Isn't that awesome? Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you mentioned about success, and for a while I was trying to be like a success coach. Like, we need another success coach, life coach, business coach. And I feel like what I do now it really is just basic fundamental business teaching. That's what I do. But what I learned is people need that to be successful.
Mm-hmm.
I handle the financial side of business, not the mindset side. I've had my own mindset coaches. I'm not a mindset coach, but it is part of business. So
Yeah.
I just wanted to get that out there.
No, I agree with you 100%. I think mindset's everything. Everything that you do in life, you have to have the right mindset. You can learn all the techniques in the world, and if your headspace isn't right, it does not matter. Take, for instance, cold calling. I did that for many years. My head wasn't right. It sucked.
Yeah.
I don't lie. It's so funny. Like, I hear cold calling now, and I just cringe. I'm like, no, I will never do it again. Never.
And I love what you were saying, or what was in the bio is how, there's just certain things that you don't learn in CPA school or business school. And those foundational pieces that you were just referencing are really important. And how do you learn that? Sometimes those foundational pieces you learn because you get started as an entrepreneur, and then you realize, I have no idea what I'm doing. And then you hire someone to help you get those foundational pieces intact.
Yeah.
And you go back. That's what I tell people. So you start, let's say you start at C, but you skipped A and B. And then you get moving and realize, oh my gosh, I'm at D, but I skipped A and B. I got to go back to A and figure out A and B, so then I can move on to E. Is that a little too much?
No. I like the alphabet analogy, because we all skip over letters. Some of us
Right.
skip over a lot of letters, and we try to get right to Z.
Right.
Let me start a business, and then everything will be fine. And you know that it's not like that. And I don't care, you could be a life coach, you could have a physical therapy business, you could own a hotel. But if you're going to start a business, there's no way you know everything.
Right.
It's just not possible, especially the side of the business that I handle. To me, I've always looked at it as there's three parts to every business. There's operations, which is what you produce. If you don't have operations, you don't have a business, right? There's sales and marketing, because if you can't sell that, you don't have a business. So the last part of it is administration, which includes, the financial part of it, the bookkeeping, the financial reports. And that's the last thing anybody's really thinking about. Because when people start a business, they're like, I got to sell this stuff. And somehow they just skip over the whole financial part of the business. And that's why, I feel like I was born to do this. For a long time, I didn't know how I was going to change the world as an accountant, doing bookkeeping. But this is it. This is it. I hope to change millions of people's lives through bookkeeping, believe it or not.
I think this is awesome. And we joke about this all the time on this show, Joe, because I maybe shared this with you before, but I did study accounting. My mother had a bookkeeping service when I was growing up in a executive suite, because back then in the 80s, that's when they had executive suites. We didn't have these co-op spaces that they have now. And so
Yeah.
she had a switchboard, a typewriter, and she did bookkeeping. And so when I went through college, I swore I was going to be a CPA. And then I got to tax law and decided, forget this. I don't like this anymore. And went into marketing. But we have many people that come on this show that have accounting backgrounds, and it is great information to know, but they end up switching kind of gears with where they're going. And so I always say our paths are not linear. We end up doing things, but somehow kind of morph into these things that we find that really bring out our heart and our passion, and use those to help other people. And I think that's where the real true success comes in, is when we're able to find that gift and be able to service other people with it. So whatever that is, I say kudos to you. If it's accounting and that's the vehicle that gets you there, yes, it's the thing.
Yeah. So, like I said, when I learned, when I read The Science of Getting Rich, that turned my whole approach upside down, or right side up, I should say. Because it was like all of a sudden, there's enough business out there for everyone. I don't have, because I was like, I was a typical accountant, corporate accounts. Everything was about numbers, the nuts and bolts. And it wasn't about abundance and mindset and things like I could actually partner with other accountants and make both of our businesses stronger. And they don't teach you that in CPA school or in college or in any kind of school, really.
That's right.
Yeah, I had to learn it on my own. Even though, the truth is, I read Napoleon Hill 40 years ago. And I think I stopped after the title, because it was just like, oh, all I got to do is think about this and I'll grow rich. I
Right.
didn't implement any of it. And that's what, I was just at a point in my career. I was pretty, successful, but never as successful as I thought I should be or could be. And I was a miserable, angry accountant, because I said, why did my father trick me into this? Look at me. I'm just an accountant, which isn't bad. It's
No,
not a bad,
right.
but I want to conquer the world.
Yeah, there's
Okay.
so
Love
many
that.
takeaways from this,
Yeah.
Joe. I mean, I think Brianna and I could tap into so many things here, but I think the big thing you're saying, that I'm hearing from you, is what I always go back to: when the student's ready to receive, the teacher arrives, right? Like, you can hear the same thing. Like in my company that I was with for 21 years, I tell this story. For 17 of those years, I was around incredible mentors, went to conferences multiple times a year. So I'm aware of Napoleon Hill, Zig Ziglar, all of these, Steve Carney, all these, Dale Carnegie, all of these great mentors. And I'd hear this stuff over and over, and it would go in one ear and out the other. And at some point in my life, I recognized that, there's more to this than grinding a paycheck or just doing these basic things. And you touched upon that when you get to that abundance mentality and you start realizing there's room at the top for everybody. There's no competition here. You can bring other people with you. And when you start thinking from that space, that's when the teachers arrive, the knowledge comes in, and you can soak it up. So you said so many Boom. Mic drop. Moments
Yeah.
there.
And I also,
Thank you. Remind me, because I don't even know what I said.
I'm listening to all of it. I'm Joe. I'm picking it all. Like you're like when I start getting chills, like you're speaking my frequency, like you're getting in there.
so great. Well, and I love
Well,
though the account being an accountant and how you wanted it to sound like you wanted to change the world or you wanted to impact more lives. And so instead of you deciding I'm out, I don't want to be an accountant anymore, you found a way, you started asking those different questions, right? How can I
oh
make
no,
an
no, no.
impact? You
I'm sorry. I have to stop you there.
Oh, you're still an
That's
accountant?
I tried to get out of accounting
Oh, you
so
did.
many times. I sold my, I literally sold my accounting practice once. I decided I wanted to be a database web developer. I'm an entrepreneur. That's why buy, when I was 10 years old, I started a casino on my driveway. And I resent my parents shut me down. They didn't think it was right for a 10-year-old to be gambling.
This is hilarious.
But and I said to I remember I said, why do people get a job when they could just make money?
Right.
So I lost my train of thought and I
I think
forgot
that
why.
Well,
word that you're trying to
Oh,
quit
say,
so
accounting.
yeah.
so I did try to get out of accounting, but every time I said, why are you doing this to me, God? I don't want to be an accountant. Why you're not listening to me? And then when I read The Science of Getting Rich, I was like, oh my God, now I understand. I could be any kind of accountant I want to be. And
Exactly.
I have a practice right now that's unlike any kind of accounting or bookkeeping practice that's out there. And, for me, that's a miracle because I'm like, I was given something for free. That's how I look at it. And I'm like, I want to give this back to people. So we do a lot of things that are free. And, it's a service. And it's basically being able to provide these services to people that need it that could never afford it before,
I love it. Why don't, yeah,
if
let's
that
talk
makes
about that.
sense.
Yeah, let's talk about what you're doing because that was one of the questions I wanted to ask because I know you've got like a mastermind group and you're doing a podcast. Talk about some of these things that you're doing to help entrepreneurs because I think this is great.
Well, the first thing, like I say, is I tell people I'm an accountant. I'm going to get into the nuts and bolts of your business because without crunching the numbers, there's not much more that you can do. You can go out there and sell all you want. I've seen people uh, implode, and I almost implode. What happens if your marketing works and you get more clients than you can ever handle, right? It sounds like a problem you would want, but believe me, you don't want it. you know. Uh, so again, I lost my train of thought. Did
We were
you ask
talking
me a
about
question?
yeah, we were talking about, it's okay. This happens to me all the time. We were talking about what you're doing for your people, what you do, what you got going
Oh.
on.
So yeah, so nobody wants to talk about bookkeeping and accounting because it's not sexy, it's not fun. So we had to come up with ways to make it interesting. If the so we actually, I'm like, this is another miracle. And I tell one of my team members, Elizabeth, I said, how did we make accounting fun? And one of the ways is we do this mastermind group every week, and it's free. And we invite entrepreneurs. We get a mix of experienced entrepreneurs and people that they're like, oh, I want to quit my job and I don't know what to do. And we spend an hour and a half every Saturday at 2 p.m. And if can I plug it now?
Yeah, go for it.
Please, yeah.
Just go to mastermindwithjoedichara.com and you can register. And what happens is we actually play a game called Jeopardy. Okay, it's a board game. It's not Jeopardy. It's like Jeopardy, but it's Jeopardy. And we
Party.
spend like yeah, we spend like half the meeting on that because it's fun. It's and you have to experience it to know what I'm talking about. But not only is it fun, we trick people because a lot of the questions have to do with finances and like current events, and we're teaching them about business. I don't know if they realize it or not, but they keep coming back, so it's working. So that's one of the things. I always invite people to the mastermind, and not so that we can get them as a client. That's never our intention. We really want to serve them. And what happens also, if you've ever been in a mastermind, is you meet other people,
Right.
and we support each other. And it's like, oh, I have a YouTube channel, put it in the chat box and we'll all subscribe, little things like that. And that's another lesson that I learned. If I could share, I started this 75 hard program. And it's, I have a coach. He's a former Green Beret special ops. And ever since he's been coaching me, it's been like, how do you feel about your family? How spiritual are you? Not what I expected from a Green Beret, right?
Right.
So I was like, I'm like, I want to up this a notch. And he's like, why don't you try the 75 hard thing? And I'm like, okay, I'm in. And what it is, it's unbelievable, because after 3 weeks, I've lost 13 pounds.
Woohoo.
But the focus, it's not physical. It's like discipline training.
Mm-hmm.
You got to do only 5 things. You got to drink a gallon of water a day. You got to do 2 45-minute workouts, no junk food, no alcohol, and you got to take a picture every day. That might have been 6 things. I lost count. But if you miss one thing, you got to start over. So it's like, all of a sudden, I got to start paying attention to little details. If I wait till 10 o'clock and I only drank a half a gallon of water, I got to drink another half a gallon of water. And you don't want to drink water before
Mm.
you go to sleep. I forgot to take my picture one time. So I had to start over. And it's like, and I'm listening to this guy's podcast, Andy Frischeller. And he's rough, and he curses all the time. But he's like, listen, if you want to be successful, you got to do what successful people do. And they get up and they take care of their mind and their body. They don't just go to work. Athletes, anybody that's really successful. And what he's talking about is what I've been saying for years. Pain is inevitable. Suffering is optional.
Mm-hmm.
So, and what I mean by that is, you got to put the work in. You got to put the work in, otherwise you're not going to get the results. And the more work you put into it, the better your results are going to be. So I decided, this guy, he has a vitamin business. He went from 0 to 500 million in like 10 years. And he's not the smartest guy in the world. So I said, if he got to 500 million, I can get to 100 million. So that's the goal that we put up there, in 10 years to get up to $100 million doing bookkeeping.
Rock
And
on.
we have a plan. It's going to happen. It's going to happen.
That's so
I'm
awesome.
putting it
Well,
out.
I was going to say, I'm familiar with the 75 and hard. I haven't done it, but I had a couple friends that have done that program. So I'm well aware of that. And you're right, it is 100% mindset. But I think so much of that stuff really is. And, it's one of those things. If you're committed, you get committed and you do it. And if you're not, if you go into it and you're like, I'm going to try this, you're probably not going to happen. I used to, it's funny, Joe, I used to use this when I was in my other sales business. I used to tell people, it's kind of like, when they were trying to make a commitment and they would say, I'm trying. And I'd be like, did you go into your marriage and say, I'm going to try to be married? Because like,
I love that.
I mean, like, does it work that way? Like, you go and I'm going to try to be married today. If this doesn't work out, I'm walking out tomorrow. That's the kind of commitment you got to have when you tackle things, whether it be business or a fitness program. It really involves the same headspace, a different activity, but the same kind of headspace, right?
Absolutely. And one thing to check, keep myself in check. And I'm on day, what is today? Today's day 15.
Woohoo.
Okay.
Wow.
I would be on day 20 if I didn't forget to take my
The
picture.
picture.
But
You won't forget that picture again.
oh no, now, well, this is what it taught me. It's like right after I do my first 45-minute routine, I take my picture. It's like I don't even think about it now. And that's the whole idea, to make it into, listen, you get up, I walk 6 miles every day, 3 miles twice. And now it's like, I don't think I could ever stop this.
I love it.
I'm like, I just get up and I'm like, okay, it's not like work.
Right.
But the funny thing is, when I started looking at this, they were like, "Oh, pregnant women have done this." I said, "If pregnant women can do this, I can do this."
Joe's got this.
And no, no. Then I realized today, I said, "There's a reason why men don't give birth. We're not strong enough." I'm like, "Of course, a pregnant woman could do this." I was using the wrong. I was comparing myself to the wrong people, and so today I woke up and I said, "Why did I do this again?"
Because you
So
got
it
this.
is hard.
Yeah.
It is hard, and I got it. But what I learned is, I posted everywhere every day. Say this is because then I got, oh my God, if I don't do it, all these people are going to know that I didn't do it, and I was only trying. I'm not trying. I'm doing
You're
this.
doing it. You're not walking into this half committed
It-
to this. It's a marriage agreement. You're walking in fully committed.
oh yeah, till death do me part.
Yes.
And you put that accountability factor in there. Good
And
for
we
you.
all know about it. So
Yeah,
you're going to
good
finish.
for you.
This is so funny because right now, have you read, and I was telling these guys in here, Brianna and Chris, who does our videography for us, I'm in the process, I'm almost done with reading Stephen Covey's 7 Habits of the Highly Effective. Have you read that yet? Such an incredible book. It's a testament to what you're talking about right now, about the whole being disciplined, and because he talks so much about there's 7 habits, but this last part is talking really about taking care of you, the human being, taking care of you. And you got to, the habits talk about having private victory before you can have public victory. You have to work on you, and taking care of all those pieces before you can go out and help other people, because we have it so reversed in society about helping other people. And somehow that's going to fix us. No, that doesn't work that way. We have to be first, right? But I think the thing that you hit upon right here is the whole idea that it's non-negotiable. That's how I look at exercise, how I look at everything that we do as personal development, everything that we do for us. There's no negotiation with that, because when you make it a priority every day, you don't have to do 75 and hard. It could be just walking, 3 miles a day. But whenever you take that priority every day to do that for you, you are way more effective in every aspect of your life, every piece. And we spend so much time on existential things when we are we're the ones. It's us. We have to work on us.
Absolutely. There's side benefits that you don't expect. So now when I'm walking, I'm like, okay, what am I going to do? I'm walking for 45 minutes. I can't just do one thing.
Right.
I'm like, I got to be productive. Like, what else can I do so guess what? I start listening to the Bible. I start listening to podcasts. And the 45 minutes it goes, and I'm like, I'm not done listening to this yet.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
it's almost like it's not just, walking it's productive time. So
I got into audiobooks because of that. I would spend about an hour in the mornings running or walking, and I just started getting obsessed with audiobooks. And that's how that happened for me, was because of my exercise in the morning. Sometimes I'd listen to music, but I would get really amped up listening to certain books, and I would feel energized and motivated. So when I got home, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to kill this day. Like, I'd be so excited. Yeah, it's really exciting.
yeah. And then the other thing I do is sometimes I don't listen to anything, and I just clear my mind. I'm just walking, and that's when I get my ideas for my business. Like this morning, I'm going to start simpletaxresolutions.com,
Very good.
because I do a lot of don't register that. I have.
Don't worry. I'm not doing any tax stuff. Don't worry. But listen, both of those things you said he talks about in that book, expanding the mind and reflection. Both of those things.
I read that book 30 years ago. I got to read it again.
You do. You will. I think you will appreciate it so much more now.
Yeah,
Like I think
I will.
I've read it before
I will.
too and didn't remember anything in it, and now I'm reading it, and I'm like, as I'm going through it, I'm like, man, everything I do and all the work that I do, Joe, everything I do, my book, everything I work on is those principles. I just didn't have a coined term to any of it. Like I'm looking at this and I'm like, even my background, everything that I was taught, all the mentors, everything that, all the people that were coming into my life were speaking these truths to me. I just wasn't ready to receive them until I was ready to receive them.
I remember one of his quotes, and I still tell people this. I remember, the 4 quadrants.
Mm-hmm.
I used to teach that. I got to get that again. But one thing he said, and that's what led me to sell my accounting practice. Believe it or not, I'm just
Mm.
remembering that. He said, people are in the thick of thin things.
Mm-hmm.
It's like people are they have their task list and they just keep checking things off, but they never accomplish anything. And I said, that's how I feel with my accounting practice. I have to get rid of the accounting practice if I want to be successful. So Stephen Covey has some responsibility in that, I feel.
You just had figured out at that time what you were supposed to do with it. That's
I
the
know.
lesson.
But you said something before about, it's funny how, like, and I'm paraphrasing, I guess, but like you keep evolving. I'm 61 now. I'm like, oh my God, I just realized this. My whole life, and it always happens. It's like you have another epiphany.
Mm-hmm. It's
And,
awesome.
and that keeps it exciting. Today I found a post on Facebook. It was I think she's the oldest woman in the world. She lives in the US. She's 116 today.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
And I cut out an article years ago. The guy, again, it was the oldest man in the world. He just passed away. He was 115. And when he was like 94, he signed up for a 3-year course on like love.
Wow.
And his friend said, "Are you crazy? You're 94. You'll never finish this." And he lived to but what he said was, "I don't ever want to stop learning."
Right.
And
Yeah.
that always stuck with me. That
That's
stuck
awesome.
with me.
That's amazing. It's a great story.
Very good. All right, Joe. Well, we want to ask you a final question, then we're going to tell everybody where to go find you. So if you were going to define success, you've said so many great things on here. I'm like, we could just coin a bunch of like little isms, Joe-isms in there and pull them out, But if you were going to define success for our audience, what does that look like for you?
Freedom.
Oh, I love
Freedom.
it. Wow. Like
Love
a
that.
one word.
Mm.
That's so great.
Yes. Thank you. That's
Isn't that what everybody
very
wants?
powerful.
Yeah.
Very powerful.
Freedom.
Yes.
I love
Look, we're speechless.
Yeah, that's good. We get some long stuff, and I'm like,
Wow.
that's what it is. That's what the whole thing. It's
Yes.
autonomy. It's freedom. I say freedom to move about the cabin, wherever that cabin is. Right. I love it, Joe. Thank you. So, if our
You're welcome.
audience wanted to come and check out your mastermind group, your firm, everything you've got going on, where do you want us to send them?
Yeah, definitely Mastermind with Joe DiChiara. We love when we get new people in there. It's because we feed off of each other, and every time there's a new person, it's like another uh, pack of energy, if you will. My website is bedrockbusinessbuilders.com, and you can visit me there, and love to hear from you.
Awesome. This has been great. Thanks for jumping on here today and sharing all your wisdom with us. It sounds like you're doing amazing things, and you're where you need to be.
Yes, absolutely.
Great meeting you,
Thank
Joe.
you. Thank you so much. And I'm going to go buy, because I actually read books too.
Good.
That was another thing of 75 Hard. You got to read 10 pages a day. I forgot about that.
I love it.
So I'm going
Love
to
it.
start reading Stephen Covey again. Thanks
Yeah,
for
I think
Nice.
you'll appreciate it way more this time around.
Yeah.
So we do want to say to our audience, of course, if you enjoy our podcast, please be sure you give us a rating both on iTunes and Facebook, because we can't do this without you, and hit that subscribe button on the YouTube.
And head on over to startergirls.com and pick up your free gift so we can keep in touch. And also, we'd like to do a shout out to our partner, foundationforchoice.org. They are currently looking for mentors for their high school students, and they're also looking for volunteers to help them with the TCU football games. So if you're looking to mentor for high school students who are wanting to graduate high school, or volunteer as a helper for a TCU football game, then just head over to foundationforchoice.org and get some more information there.
All right, and I think our final thoughts for today are going to resonate really well with what we've talked about today. So, success doesn't come from what you do occasionally, it comes from what you do consistently. And that is by Marie Forleo.
Oh,
But-
Marie Forleo.
Yeah, is that who it is?
Yeah.
Okay, well, another name I can't pronounce. So thank you. But I think it's a great quote. I think it fits well with what Joe said today.
Absolutely.
So
Consistency. is
that's
all
right.
about it.
Consistency. Absolutely. All right, guys. And in order to have success, you must start. And every start begins with a decision. You guys take care, be safe, and be kind to one another. We will see you next time.